mai.
All right, mate, what's happening?
Assalamu alaikum.
Buongiorno.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another season, another end to the season of the Welsh Esports League. YN, you're going to be joining me today. We have two teams going up against each other that, like we know the Dragons were going to find themselves here, but the other team that we didn't see last week, that's the Pit Ponies. They found themselves pushing their way through our game tonight, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm pretty sure you are as well.
Oh, I'm mega excited for this one. I mean, I've got history of both these teams, both these orgs. Love both of them. This is probably the best final for me personally that I could have possibly got. And I mean, for these players as well, it is a rematch of last season. If you remember back season, we saw these two teams play off in the finals, and it was a 2-0 to the Pit Ponies. Not really a close series in the end. I think it was something like, I don't know, 7-4, 7-2 across two maps. But brand new teams, brand new composition. It's been a few months since then. Let's see what these two teams are cooked up in the meantime.
Yeah, and I feel like when we were kind of talking about it before we kind of got into this, I feel like me and you, we kind of... the general opinion is that the Dragons have kind of shifted, the Ponies have kind of shifted it back into that dominant position. The Dragons, you weren't necessarily saying they were going to be kind of outright stomped, but you were saying, you know, if they were to win it out, it would be a really good game to watch at the very least, even if they bring it close, because the Dragons, they're going to be going in as the underdogs, aren't they?
Yeah, Dragons are heavy underdogs here. I mean, again, ignoring last season, throwing last season completely in the bin, Season 9 didn't happen. This matchup itself with these players, because bear in mind, you have to remember, Dragons have basically a completely different roster. This is not going to be a straight one-for-one rematch, but I still think Pit Ponies, with the players they got, with the experience these players got, you know, outside of WoW, we've got tier 2 players in here. You know, I think their experience is going to pull through in the end.
The thing is, as well, with a team like Pit Ponies, they're, like you say, they're bringing these players forward. They haven't had that shake-up in players. It can sometimes be great, it can sometimes be really helpful, but sometimes, in the case of Pit Ponies, well, they're just going to keep with something that works. You can see both teams here, they ended at the top of the bracket, which gave them the top seeding spot. So when we went into the playoffs, they both ended up meeting each other at the very end, kind of the way we expect these playoffs to go. So if you bring the bracket now, you see the Goats and Tribal both got knocked out in the groups, in the playoff stages. And now we find ourselves at that grand final. It's flown by again, but here we are, you know, Season 10. We're coming to the end of it already. It's been a lot of fun to watch, especially the first week, I think, was one that I really, really enjoyed, because we just saw teams that I haven't seen in a little bit going up against each other, and yeah, it's pretty exciting to watch. I'm kind of upset that it's coming to an end already.
It's always bittersweet when you come to the end of the season. On one hand, you get to crown brand new champions. You get to see the best of the season go up against each other, and it should always be a fireworks matchup. But on the other hand, we've got to wait now. After this, we're done. For Siege, at least. Obviously, we've still got more action and other titles coming. But for Siege, we've got to wait. This is it. So I guess we've just got to enjoy it while it's here and have a fantastic time watching these two teams go up against each other and hopefully put on a fantastic display.
Definitely, we'll have to make the most of it when we do come into this. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking you might want to get involved, you like the look of it, you kind of reckon, oh, well, you know, maybe these players, I could probably do a better job. Me and my mates could probably do a better job than these people. Then why not give it a go? I mean, you can get involved on Twitter, get involved in the Discord. There's many ways to find yourself getting into it, whether it's just playing for a bit of fun, playing in the Welsh Esports League, or looking at doing a production side of things. I do recommend it. Having been there and done that and got the t-shirt for a number of years, I recommend it wholeheartedly. If you can do, and if you're thinking, oh, you might give it a go because you're a bit unsure, definitely do it. The worst you can do is say, oh, well, it's not for me. I feel like it's something that you can only stand to benefit from, and everyone's there to try and help out each other and try and enjoy themselves in a league like this. They're just trying to be the best and show what Wales has to offer. If you want to get involved, the social media info, it's all right there. That's how you get involved with it. Get in the Discord, get on the Twitter, and then that's how you kind of find your railroad into it. I know, Ryan, you've had a slightly different journey through the Welsh Esports League than I have, but I wouldn't say it's been that different. It's been quite enjoyable, hasn't it?
I mean, my entire start in esports, my first ever tournament was Welsh Esports League 1. I was just coming out of college. I had just heard about it, decided, you know what, I'm going to throw my hat in. And bear in mind, I'd only been on PC for, I think, 2 months at that point. So I just threw my hat in thinking it was going to be nothing. And 10 seasons later, a couple years later, I'm here. And everything I've achieved was because I just decided to throw my hat in. So if you really are considering it, even if you've got no experience like I had when I started, or if you've got mounds of experience, you are welcome here. We'd love to see you join up, sign up. And again, like Creedy said, whether it's in playing, coaching, or, production, casting even, there are all different roles here. The community here is absolutely probably one of the best in esports I think I've ever experienced. You are welcome here, and we would love to have you here as well.
Exactly, it's a lot of fun. Now I'm going to turn our attention back to the game that we've got. I feel like the dragons that we've seen, I know I was kind of backing them a little bit when we started talking behind the scenes there. I feel like the dragons, especially coming off last week, I feel like they are going to have that. They're going to have that. They've got that little swagger behind them. They have that confidence. They know that they can win gunfights. They know that they can perform. The big test here though, is that was against a team like
I think it was Tribal.
I'm thinking Dragons. With Dragons, they went up against Goats.
Oh yeah.
And as a result, they went in, they went confident, they won their gunfights, and they had a pretty strong game. But I think especially when we came to the second map, the border that we found ourselves on, that was when they started to lose that momentum a little bit. That was when they really started to drop the ball and kind of give away a little bit too much to the side of the Goats. So for me, I'm going to be looking kind of towards consistency and the endurance behind that team. Can they keep that going, especially once you hit that late second game, because that's when player fatigue will really start to kick in. This is only the second week that these guys are going to be doing best of threes, and then, like you say, they're going to be going up against the Pit Ponies, who've also had a dominant side, and also have that experience. They've played in these best of threes. They know exactly what to expect.
I mean, as a player, the number one thing you need to do is make sure that good start, bad start, no matter what, your mental has to stay in the game. But I think for the side of this Dragons team, as we've seen, if they have a very good start, they can fly. They will fly. They are fantastic. They gain, like you said, that swagger, that confidence. They take the risky gunfights and usually they come out on top. But I think that's the key for the Dragons here. They have to get a good start. If Pit Ponies, can lead 3-0 by the time second ban phase comes in, I think Dragons are fighting a very steep uphill when it comes to getting back into the game, let alone winning it. So I think, again, for the side of the Dragons, you have to make sure you're at least getting a foot in the door very early. And again, for the side of Pit Ponies, it's all about doing the opposite. Do not let them get any sort of momentum, swagger, confidence going. Otherwise, you are opening yourself up to probably some of the best mechanically skilled players we have seen come into WEL itself. I mean, again, side of the Pit Ponies, you've got players like Manny, like Joe, like these guys. They are very good at what they do. They can shut you down within, a tenth of a second if you let them. So I think for the Dragons, you literally do not give away anything unnecessary early on. Get your foot in the door, and then see how you can, snipe and get into these little weaknesses that the Pit Ponies have, because every team will have them. We have seen before with these players, I think it was Season 8 in the finals, Pit Ponies lost to Goats. These guys can bleed. They aren't invincible. They may seem like it, but they are not. So again, for the Dragons, just get in the door early.
Yeah, getting that early momentum is what it's all about. We are going to be taking a little bit of a break, though, while we're having a couple of technical difficulties. What would Siege be without a little intermission for your break? SI had it, Well will have it. You can't escape it at all. Even Quick Match will have it. We're going to take a little break before we do get started, just to make sure we get everything set up properly before we kick this grand final off. But as soon as we're ready, as soon as we're able to, we will be bringing the action right to your screens. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. If you're only just joining us, you've missed nothing at all, because thanks to Siege being a very incredible game that is still very early in its development, we had an issue, so we had to take our time to get into this. Now, Chalet is going to be our first map, YN. Really surprising nobody that we're finding ourselves here, but then the next two maps, I feel are rather dragon-sided from what I can tell, from at least looking at last week.
Yeah, I mean, what was it last week? Yeah, we saw dragons. What was it? Border and what?
It was Border and Labs.
It was Border. Yeah, it was Border and Labs. So we got Labs' second map, obviously, and again last season we saw these two in the finals, and Labs was one of the maps that Pit Ponies managed to win 7-2. It wasn't even close. it really wasn't close. I think we got a little bit of difficulties with Siege just being Siege again, but I think we're actually going to play through it, so that's not a problem. Either way, back to focus on these two teams. Chalet, last week, not last week, cast your mind back 2 weeks ago, not Pit Ponies, God, sorry, Dragons. Dragons versus Tribal, all right? We saw Dragons take that 7-1, and we saw Dragons look so confident on this defensive side, did we not? They were spawn picking from round 1. They didn't really care. They were just in. They were just doing whatever. It did not matter to them. So I want to see how the enemy is going to change that. Because for all we know, that could have just been because, Tribal weren't really the best. Compared to Pit Ponies, Tribal are on a completely, separate level.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see when we get these small peaks coming out. We got the DMR on the Rooney on Rex. So there's a good possibility here, with that ACOG. But again, I think these first 2 rounds, I think both teams are going to be using them just to feel out the other team. As you can see with the op lineups, we have a very neutral palette. Nothing insane, very standard default. We'll just see how these guys play.
Yeah, like you say, you've got your pretty standard operators, just kind of cookie cutters, essentially. There's nothing kind of targeting. They're just saying, right, let's just go with what we know. Again, like I said, the SEA Dragons, I'm looking to see how confident they are with this pace setting rounder. Do they want to go in and make that statement early on that we're going to go for these spawn peaks? Well, there's a little bit of pressure, a little bit of that implied by Shaq, but nothing really sat down with. They've not committed to it too hard. A little bit of gunfire will go out as the ponies, like you say, will have to start making their move. Now they've taken down the library player Rex. The Rooney DMR's just been taken away. They're not going to go for that piano and main lobby push, which means that they need to be quite quick with taking control of library. They need to be quick at getting in, getting that Mez player taken down, and getting that piano control. There's 2 windows that need to be covered now. So Embuemo and Mr. Packets are really going to have to step this up and really not make any mistakes. As the Brava goes through, they spot the player over towards that top piano stairs, or top blue stairs, and they're not going to actually continue from that. They might actually just say, right, Fawn, apply a little bit of pressure over towards the CEO side. We'll just go for a standard take. We've got the pick.
Yeah, it's just all about, assessing what the situation is. That Bravo did very good damage to the Runa Gates. Speaking of good damage, Legoland, he's gone. Bravo gone. That's Billy Ray. First kill for the Dragons here. And a beautiful one-tap from Billy Ray, immediately traded out by Meat. But I don't think he really cares. 3v3 now. All 3 smokes still up. 1 minute 30 on the clock. Half a round's gone. I think Pit Ponies, I think it's very even right now in terms of what has been taken from the Dragons, what's been taken from the Pit Ponies. They don't have this top blue control. They will try and just force the Jaeger out. No ADSs, so Shaq will have to fall back. And that's top floor control secured for the Pit Ponies with a minute left. So in all fairness, they've done that quite well. They've left themselves with a very nice heap of time to just work on this site now. But again, 3 smoke canisters for Zorn. Shaq will go down though. It's a 3v2. I think for the side of Dragons, they have to look for something back here. As Zorn is just tucked in this corner, waiting for the Ace of Fawn to peek out.
Yeah, as soon as Zorn gets his first kill or gives that first piece of audio away, the ponies will know exactly where they are. The Ace Charge will go out into that stock wall to stop them having that comfortable position to play by. I'm looking towards Vex, the bottom blue stairs. They're looking very much poised for that retake on the top floor. Zorn has to waste that time. Capital Flames will come out, forces them out the bar into the waiting hands of Embuemo. Embuemo, yeah, going to be able to find that kill. Takes down Zorn. Vex goes around that lane lobby. Cuts some damage onto Capital, but doesn't stop the plank going down. The swing comes out from Meeple, looking for the kill to shut down that round. And the Pit Ponies will find the first round on the board. They did get that opening pick. It felt like they stalled out a little bit towards the middle, but they picked it up pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't think that was a big stall out from Pit Ponies. I think that was just a tactical, let's just chill. We got the opening pick, we don't need to do anything. And I think the only reason we could call that round close was because of Billy Ray's really good double on Mez. That first kill, a little bit more sloppy, but happens. And then a second shot from him was crisp, clean, incredible. But again, aside from that, there's nothing really positive to say for the Dragons. Because I think if Billy Ray goes down there, maybe goes down with 1, let's say, I think that round still ends a lot earlier. So I think after that 3v3, just I think the Pit Ponies just decided just to chill a little bit, wait, let's let the util work for us, work on this site like I said, and then they went for the execute. And they saw that perfectly. You saw them clear out Zorn, who was in stock. There was only one place he could have been. And Zorn didn't really expect that the Capital was already just walking up by. He thought he'd be at the door or, you know, dropping. But no, Capital in Bueno already up bar, in sight, easy pick for him, 3v1, and then there's not really much Vex could do there.
Yeah, and in that situation, UMP, full flash, and they know exactly where you are. Eat a toughie. Now, though, the SEA Dragons aren't going to try that again. They're just going to say, right, well, it didn't work. It clearly didn't work. Kind of agreeing with you a bit there, YN. And they're just saying, right, let's just go down below. Let's put that round away from us. Just pretend we're 0-0 and go from there. So, down to this basement. Again, pretty bog standard operators being brought on from both sides. The Brava here really just to kind of shut down, especially the Aruni gates. They're going to be the big problems here. Maybe some of these, some at least of some of these K-Claws, try and get that utility off the board. That's also going to be an option, but realistically, it's the Aruni gates I need to worry about. And Bremo, in this out garage, awareness somebody's going to be on that roam. Billy Ray will spot and will find that kill just in time. And the Vert is there. They can still play the cut-off for that player. But that means that the pressure from Old Man Legalong will be coming over towards that trophy side. They have the drone. They're not going to be using it just yet because they don't really want to give away too much, especially while that breach is getting opened. The rest of Pit Ponies, they're over that side. They're not really helping out towards the backside, so they don't want to commit too much. Like you say, it's just slowing things down and kind of waiting until you've got the right opportunity to make that push, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of util on the side of the Dragons, so Pit Ponies have to wait. That Twitch and that Bravo should be pretty easy stuff like the Goyos and as you're seeing some of this more harder util to get, like the K-Claws, are going to be more difficult. I don't think that's difficult though. I think Shaq, yeah, just peeking out the breach with that tub DMR, just decided to just go for it. Didn't work out. Fawn gets his first kill of the game, and that's a disadvantage for the Dragons. Now, a fun little almost finds a head-to-head, but no, Billy Ray again finding another opening pick for the Dragons. But as I was saying, do you want to know a little fun fact, Creedy? Yeah. This basement is actually statistically the worst site to go to on Chalet in terms of win rate. Only 37% in the entirety of 2025. Statistically, they have a better chance going anywhere other site. But you make this work, you've got the 3 other best sites in the game to go to. So I think now for the Dragons, you have to play behind this utility. Goy canisters, Aruna gates, all going off. Smoke canisters from Zorn, still 3 of them. And I think if you look inside the Pit Ponies, they're over-rotating. They don't really know what to do. That diffuser on Fawn, by the way, was dropped. So that kill from Billy Ray is really throwing out their plans. But I don't think the Dragons really know it, because by the fact that they're going very aggressive, they're putting their lives at a lot of risk. Billy Ray finding another kill now. Me trying to search for an equalizer. Does almost see the head on a guy playing blue. But again, is shut out by this Aruni gate. Has to really just work around. But the Dragons aren't really giving him anything. Billy Ray down during Lubana as well. As he goes to cross in, Rex will take out Lego in Bueno. That's a TK down from Meep. No! Meep, what are you doing? That's pure reactionary. And that has really just sealed the round. They had a decent chance with their guns, but no. Meep, a completely accidental reactionary shot from him, takes down his teammate in Urbana, and that's the first round on the board for the Dragons.
I don't really know what to say. I mean, yeah, like you said,
it's pure reaction.
Like you said, I think there's things to talk about other than that. I think the opening, obviously that's a horrible thing to happen. That's really going to be, that's quite telling about the mental there for me, for the Pit Ponies. They're not suave, nonchalant at it. They would, okay, that maybe Meat was a little bit caught off guard, but for me, I feel like the opening picks there, Billy Ray being able to find that kill, Fawn being able to find those opening picks towards that breach, it just allowed for both sides, really. It allowed for Pit Ponies to really put that dent in the Dragons, which meant when the backside execute did come through, you could see Meep and I believe it was Abuemo putting a lot of pressure over towards that boiler side, a lot of pressure over towards that wine wall. At that point, Lego Long was walking down blue, walking down main, just probing, seeing what they could do. And I really like that because they were thinking about that second angle of attack. That's
Yeah.
also important moment in Siege. The Dragons, they didn't really turn around that much. They didn't really pay attention to those flanks that much until Legalong made them. And again, it was just able to win those gunfights. So fair play to them. The Dragons were able to pick that up. But I feel like I liked seeing that. I liked that the Pit Ponies didn't just run headlong and get caught up in the momentum. They kept that in mind and they said, right, let's pull someone back. Just play it a little bit safer, we'll be fine. Finding ourselves on this top floor site though, pretty much expecting a pretty standard library mez clear, get that breach open, have that player on the double window, and then start looking at that plant for the breach, maybe a player towards piano as well. Big problem they're going to find is Vex though. That mez player will be dealt with quite easily from a player over towards piano, but how many bodies do the ponies really want to commit to this take?
I think it's going to be similar to how you described it on Basement. Again, with Chalet, you can't really just do one focal point. You have to split. Rex will be taken down though. A lot of damage done to Fawn and Embuemo as well on that Blackbeard. Those are two very key players into opening up this site. Obviously, Fawn with those Selma charges on Ace has to really just stay alive here now. You can't go for anything crazy. And Embuemo on that Blackbeard is the one who is going to be pushing early, trying to get those entries, but as Vex does almost find the head of Mr. Packets on a Dockerby, can't really convert it. Shaq playing on his blue stairs, they know where he is, they have to clear him, so he's going to have to join up with Vex, and they're just going to have to run here. They can't really stay and fight this. Billy Ray can fight it though. That's the Blackbeard gone. That's your key piece into getting to the site gone. It's now all about these guns for the side of Pit Ponies.
Yeah.
No more shield to hide behind. Nothing you can do, and Fawn's so low, he is one tap to Saruni DMR. He's one tap to any gun really, I think, on that side of SCA Dragons. So again,
even a Goyo or an Impact.
Even a Goyo, Thorn Trap, and Impact, anything from the Dragons will just take him out, completely kill him. So for the side of Pit Ponies now, you have to find another pick. And speaking of the Thorn Trap, we'll take down Thorn. Too close. Zorn though, the Thorn in question will get traded out, and we're back in an equal 3v3. Vex now going for that flank. They don't know though. They don't know he's come back to this blue side, as Lego will take down Shaq, make it a 3v2, but Vex should find one here. Will find Lego on that Bravo. Refrags galore, trades galore this round. Will take some more damage though from the guy playing Mez, and Mr. Packets will take down Billy Ray. Vex, he is downstairs. He is not on site. They will get this plant down for free on the side of the Pit Ponies. Now Vex did a 1v2. We saw him though against the Ghost to clutch on map 1. He had that 1v4 on the Rooney DMR. This time they know where he is. He's flashed out. There's not much he can do. He's probably just going to get killed. I got long. Never mind. I tell a lie. Vex will take down Meep. 1v1 now. But Mr. Packets will take him down, though, with a beautiful headshot. And that's a second round secure for the Pit Ponies. A good try from Vex, though.
Yeah, very well played. They were able to get in. They kind of thought a bit of they had a bit of congestion from the Dragons there, where those kills coming through. The flank was there. But at the end of the day, the Ponies were able to push it. They got that opening pick, and they just ran with it. Again, I feel like that would have been a much more dominant round if the Blackbeard didn't take as much damage, because as soon as they did take that damage, then, okay, essentially that's the player off the board. They don't have that confidence to push. The Thorn, the Goyo, the Impact names, it just stops it entirely. We are having a quick rehost, which gives us a little bit of time to talk about how this game has been going so far. I feel like, again, this is one where, while it was close for the Dragons, it was a good effort from Rex there at the end. Realistically, I don't see it being as close as it possibly seemed at the end. Like I say, we just saw a lot of the early damage going out onto these attackers that just... That was it for me. It kind of neutered that push. It stalled it out. We still saw Meep going over towards that main lobby window, putting that pressure on, playing that cutoff. It was only the Roma of Rex that really put the Ponies in that high pressure position towards the end of the round for me there, finding that kill. And as soon as Rex runs away, they realized they had to do something. So what did they do? They pushed onto site, they found that kill onto the player, realizing that Rex was down below, get the plant down. That's all you need to do, and that's the round one for yourselves. Yeah, they lost the body, but at the end of the day, you'll take a body, you'll take a hit to the KD if it gives you the round.
Yeah, I think the difference in that round at least, and I think through the entire game really, is the difference in how these kills are, being attained for each team. On the side of the Pit Ponies, every single player is putting in, 1 or 2 kills per round. their avenues of attack, they've got 3 of them going at once, usually at a time, which is what you're supposed to have on the Chalet, yes, but the players they've got, they are finding these kills, whereas on the side of the Pit Ponies, you just have maybe 1 or 2 people having hero plays. That first round, Billy Ray got the only 2 kills for the Dragons. Second round, again, was a little bit more even, but you saw a couple more people, again, Billy Ray, getting more doubles, and I think he did get a double in that round as well. And in that last round, again, it was Vex, really, on that Aruni, just him being the hero, making that round to a 1v1 as close as it got. So I think for the side of the Dragons, you need to be looking at how are we giving away these kills to each avenue of attack so that Pit Ponies get it even, and how can we stop just relying on these hero plays from people in suicide positions or positions where they're not really able to be traded out.
Yeah, I feel like finding that consistency and fragging potential across the board is something that they'll definitely need to step up. We do need to remind you that we are on Pit Ponies map pick. This is a best of 3, so the Pit Ponies, you expect them to be doing better on this map. I mean, Chalet, though, it's pretty standard map. It's kind of become the new Clubhouse in my eyes, or the new Oregon at least, in terms of that's a pretty default map. That's a map that teams understand at a basic level. You should be able to play it at a basic level as a team. I feel like the Pit Ponies, they're going to be running in with that confidence, though. It's like, this is our map pick. This is what we want. We're going to go in with our map advantage before we find ourselves on Night Haven. But from the Dragons, I feel like little tweaks are all that we really need for them to find themselves getting better, finding those rounds. Like you say, it's finding that consistency in the kills. It's not just the hero plays. It's having those crossfires, having that ability to kind of the games to catch these attackers off guard. They've done it a couple of times. They could just make more of it, possibly. Maybe catch 1 or 2 more of them. I feel like Dragons definitely aren't out, even though they've struggled to get rounds on the board so far. I'm thinking on the attack, though, Pit Ponies, they've run into some obstacles, but they're doing quite good. They know what to do when things go wrong, which is very important for teams, isn't it?
Yeah. Pit Ponies have been doing fantastically, overcoming any obstacles they face. Obviously, that last round, what was the big obstacle they faced? It was clearing out that blue stairs, clearing out Shaq, clearing out Vex. And in the end, they kind of said, you know what, screw it. Let's just go clear them out with our utility and our guns. We are better. And they cleared out Shaq. Obviously, didn't know about Vex, who was also there. But again, by the time Vex had come back up to retake those stairs, there was only one man, the Bravo of Lego, sat there. So in the end, all that really happened, they lost 1 when they got 2 in sight. They killed the site player, and I think it was Billy. And, you take in sight at the cost of 1 man. And the other guy's downstairs, or he's coming from blue. There's only 2 positions that guy can come from. And it's blue or it's solar. So at that point, you just need to watch out. And in the end, they deducted it was solar. And they got it correct. And again, like I said, Vex is the only reason that round looked more close than it was. Otherwise, I think that was much more of a stomp.
Yeah, I have to agree on that one, because it could have been a lot closer, but little things for the Dragons they need to be focusing on. It's right. Are they picking the right moments for these plays? For example, with Vex pushing up, like you say, they took a little bit of time and it meant they only got the 1 pick instead of 2. Maybe catching, they didn't, because we saw that the Pit Ponies didn't realize that there was a second player towards blue stairs. Well, when they lost Shaq, they could have pushed straight up with Vex immediately and possibly found a second kill, but that's all in the past, so it's not going to change anything now. We can only look towards the future, and the future is going to be a slightly distant future, because we are going to be cutting to another short break, because we're just trying to get all the players back in the lobby. While we do, I feel like for the Dragons, the main thing is just talk and think about, right, what are we doing, what's not working, why are we close, and how do we get it over the finish line. Whereas the Ponies, they just need to keep that mantle going. Again, we will see you in a little bit, just don't go anywhere. And here we are again. We're going back into it. Finding our spot and gaming for the second time. The SEA Dragons, they've kind of touched upon all the sites bar one at the moment, and that is the kitchen dining one. But I feel like that changing that up isn't necessarily what they need at the moment. Plus, they've only got a one-round deficit as it is. Yes, I know we've already said, YN, that these game rounds feel like they've not been as close as the scoreline's been. Like, yeah, it's been some pretty tentative moments. But at least at the scoreline, the numbers don't lie. They're still around on the board, and that's still only one down from Pit Ponies round. And then you find yourselves going back down below, or you find yourself going for kitchen dining or that top floor again, which wasn't necessarily the worst round. Pit Ponies, though, they just need to do exactly what they did before. Get that control upstairs, get that early couple of picks on the board like they did by that halfway mark. They were getting into the building. And right now, Legalong might be able to make something happen here if they can get in undetected. They might be able to walk up those main stairs, apply that pressure to stock, which, if you remember, was one of the big positions that we saw, I believe it was playing in that last time that we were on that site.
Yeah, it was Zorn on a smoke in that stock corner, and he got cleared out. But again, all that really matters now for the Pit Ponies is just getting in, getting set up, making sure that their execute can come swiftly and cleanly.
The droning going to be the key part of that. Finding that information, find where these players are and what they can get away with. For example, again, Legalong, if we were able to walk up blue right now, they might be able to find Zorn. Opens up that entry into that library side. They could take down that one quite easily, but that probably isn't going to be the case because you really wouldn't be thinking to do that as an attacker unless you were quite confident. Pit Ponies, they're just going to be taking their time. I feel like it's the slowest round we've seen starting off while they get the players down below and while they get that CEO pressure. It's all to do with Shaq. If they get that CEO presence, they have that main lobby player. Any gunfights that Shaq takes, they have to win it, because if they get forced off or they lose a gunfight, that player's taken down. There's a player main lobby, there's a player CEO. Wamai is going to die if they don't hit their shots. And that's the kind of play that we need to see. They've even got the vert play here. The gunfight comes out. Damage goes on to Shaq, but doesn't find the mark. But there's about 3 other operators just holding to try and capitalize upon that kill. A minute left. Take it down on the clock. Meep drops accidentally down to garage. And we'll be backing up like a long packets. Finds that opening pick. Takes down the smoke. That big player that we talked about in the end there. And that's going to be Shaq falling as well. Library has fallen and the vert is in favor of the Ponies. Legalong sees to get above. They can start doing some vert, but Fawn gets taken down by Billy Ray. The Warden on the blue stairs. The blue stairs again, might I add. Finding a little bit of solace for the side of the Dragons. Holding these blue stairs means they can apply some pressure to that top floor. But as Mute gets taken down by Rex, it's going to be Rex and Billy Ray falling to Legalong and Packets. And now Vex again on this site. With that castle, with that UMP, we'll have to look for this round to be theirs. They will be able to find a kill this time, though. They find the head of Legalong and Packets, and then Buemo start to go for the plant. They don't know that the 2 players are playing down below. The smoke canisters have gone out. The shots are there. The plant goes down. Vex finds Mr. Packets. And now Buemo, in the post-plant position, has got it in the perfect spot they need it to be. Vex has to go into that corner, has to expose themselves. And with 30 seconds ticking down, they hear the plant start to tick. The bait comes out, and Buemo has to pick the right moment to try and stop. Because if they take it too late, he's going to get it, but he doesn't. And Buemo finds that pick and gets our 3rd round for the Ponies, which very easily could have gone for the Dragons if it was a split second later.
Too close. That's too close for the Ponies there. I think, again, you always want to be cautious when approaching a 1v1 defusing other enemy, obviously. But again, I think for Flying Bomo, just a little bit too cautious there, mate. Half a second later, he's round's done. They've given up a 3v1, which they should have never lost. So, again, I think they need to just be breathing a sigh of relief. You won the round, move on. For the Dragons, again, it's just not good enough. Giving up 2 very crucial entry picks like that and then relying on other people to claw you out of it. You cannot start every single round a man or 2 men down. They have not gotten a single entry pick in this entire game. 0-4 for them.
I'd be interested to see how long that continues for. Are the Pit Ponies going to keep that aggressive momentum in these early gunfights? because I think it's such a sharp contrast. Like you say, 2 weeks ago we saw the Dragons. They had the DMRs, they had the Melusi weapons. They were taking these gunfights. They were trying to take the fight to the Team Tribal at the moment. At that point, we're not seeing that same side of Dragons. They're feeling a lot more reserved, and I feel like they might be giving ponies a little bit too much respect. You Dragons, you've only got a couple of players here that have got kills, at least in that last round. You can see the exact players that we've been talking about have been stepping up and need the rest of the team to kind of pick things up. Granted, it's your smoke and your maestro, at least in this round, that are currently sat on the donuts, but there needs to be something. It needs an assist, there needs to be some real gain if they're going to be sitting there not taking those gunfights. Pit Ponies, though, they're going to start getting that breach open. They're going to get that information, and the Turbo will shut it down. That's one gadget taken away, but with the Thatcher, quite outnumbers those two gadgets. And we're taking on the Vault camera, which might be there just to kind of bait it out. There's no Cade or Bandit, which means this wall will open.
Yeah, it does seem like a little bit of a bait there, but again, it doesn't really matter though, because like you said, that wall is going to go open. But Vex, on this top floor, I don't know if they've clocked him. I mean, surely with their...
They should.
They should. Should be drilling out anyways.
If they're doing it now, they should.
They should really do the top down, but again, I don't think they have clocked him. I don't think they know. I mean, obviously you had the round drone go through K9, but it doesn't look like they're reacting very much.
No, I think Vex has just bided their time. They've realised that the drones haven't done what they've needed to, and as a result, they might have a huge opportunity here. Billy Ray will find that opening pick again. We'll find another round where the Pit Ponies find that opening kill. But with Vex above, that might be all important, because you can see the very vert heavy operators for the side of Pit Ponies. They are now going to be finding Vex up at that top floor. They know that player's there, and they know that now they have it. The drone comes out, the info's there. The player's on K9, looks for the kill, but just can't make it happen. Zorn's able to find a frag onto Legalong on their own. And with Vex staying above, that case going down outside the building. The SCA Dragons, they have a distinct advantage here. Meat will try and get a refrag, but just can't land those shots. And now the Pit Ponies, this is the closest they've come so far to defeat in really going for that uphill battle, as the SCA Dragons, with 4 players left and less than a minute on the clock, will just hold things down.
5 seconds and Vex is still upstairs. This is a little bit of, just a terrible play from the Ponies. Zorn is here, though. He is here to support. Vex will take down Mr. Packets with a lovely shotgun kill. 2v4 now for the Pit Ponies. 1v4 for the Pit Ponies, as Rex will take down Fawn. And for me, it's kind of just consolation frags at this point. You can try and get one, maybe get the second onto Vex, but 20 seconds, you've still got a lot of util to go through. There's not much you can do here. Zorn will probably, and will be, a little bit of trouble there, will be finished off. But again, 14 seconds, Meep is locked out of this round, and, well, there we go, there's the confirmation. But again, Dragons on the basement side, looking very good, but again, lost that entry pick. 0-5 now on their entries, but luckily that round, Pit Ponies had a little bit of a blunder clearing the Valk, who did, I'm pretty sure, get active pretty early on, doing some damage onto Lego, and even then, they still couldn't clear. So a fantastic play from Vex, and I think he's really been the standout MVP from the Dragons so far.
I have to agree. The thing is, though, that round has just brought SCA Dragons to a 1-point game at the moment. Realistically, we can quite confidently attribute that round to Vex playing that for staying alive so long, finding those impact kills, really just neutering the Pit Ponies entirely. The problem is the Pit Ponies aren't going to make that mistake again. They will have drones in those positions. They will be looking for stuff like that for those lurkers. And the Dragons, they don't have the opportunity to go back down to that side. They're going to have to find themselves go up again. And again, it was the lurkers that we looked at last time, and I think it was actually Vex that we were really looking towards to have that impact that just wasn't necessarily felt at the end of the round. Down on that roam, they need to be a little bit more opportunistic. I think last time we were on this site, that's where they gave away a bit. They were given a bit too much respect. They didn't go in, they let Shaq die and didn't go for a refrag. That's why I want to see this change. I want to see a little bit more just swagger out of the Dragons, really, when we find ourselves on this top floor site again.
Problem with that is, Ponies are very good at punishing swagger. We've seen this time and time again throughout the seasons. These players, they know all the tricks. They know everything you're going to do. So if you're going to try something sneaky, you best be on your absolute A game. Otherwise, they're probably going to punish you for it. This blitz from Embuemo, though, looking like, they want to go for this very aggressive plays. I think something we did skip over, the bans in the mid game, because that's when we had the rehost. Rooney was banned for, the Dragons, so they used it in the first 3 rounds. Not a surprise. That DMR, the ACOG, very potent on whatever site you go. And for the side of the Dragons, they chose to ban the Brava. I don't know if they thought that Rooney would stay. If they did, that's a little bit, stupid, to put it nicely. I think it was very clear which operator would go. But that Brava is still a very good operator for other things like these Malusis, like these, like these Thorns. So, again, I think it still has another, way of working. As a minute into the round here, Pony's already in that library side, now can start working on his highway, start working on his main breach, and it's going to be a pretty similar take from the Pit Ponies as to what we saw last time. But key difference here is the Dragons have chose to bunker more. No double playing blue stairs, nothing weird like that. They've just chosen to go completely trap heavy, normal.
Exactly, and the thing is, though, that does mean that the Sea Dragons, while they're not taking these gunfights, Pit Ponies have to assume that they are playing their own. They have to assume that they're in these positions, and that's what's taking up the time with no risk for the Dragons. They can just hold down and play it safe. Embuemo will be taken down again, the first on this site again to fall, but Mr. Packets has the answer. Shaq taken down. There were mine magnets to fall as well. Legalong will find Zorn. Meep drops as well, bringing us back to a 3 versus 3. As Dockerby's scan does go off. The Thorn gadget has the impact onto Thorn, but that doesn't matter because that plant is starting to go down now. We'll have to get into the attack. It's going to be Vex able to find the head of Old Man Lego. How did they manage to hit that shot? Billy Ray able to find Packets as well. Forcing Thorn with low HP back into a 1 versus 3. 3 angles they're going to have to cover. They're able to find one. Looks towards that piano door, but it's not enough. They're going to have to look towards the piano. And Billy Ray will be able to finish off that kill. Another round for the SEA Dragons to claw themselves back to a 3-3 scoreline as they find themselves going on to the attack. And a much-needed round there.
Crucial. That round, that's a 2-round swing. They lose that round, they go 2 rounds down. However, they equalise. Going into this attacking half, which again is more equal on Chalet, I think we have to say. It's not like the defense has a massive advantage like you would say on maybe a Clubhouse or definitely like a Consulate, something like that. On Chalet, it's very equal. It all comes down to who's the better prepared team. And I think for the Dragons, at least in my eyes, they are overperforming here against the Pit Ponies. I genuinely thought maybe you would get a 4-2, 5-1 half. So for them to come in here, go 3-3 with the Pit Ponies, who have been established for the last year as one of the better, if not the best team in WoW, I think there's something to be proud of in itself. The thing you got to focus on now is you got to carry on, okay? And these bans, very standard, very, very standard. Breaches from the side of the Pit Ponies going off, very standard. Don't want any of these walls open. And then for the Dragons, ban and Decade, I think, again, it's a first preemptive ban. If you don't ban it and they don't ban the breaches, then you're a little bit, screwed going in. But again, they banned it, the breaches got banned, so they switched up their tactic. They took out the Warden. They don't want that guy playing Boiler, they don't want him playing Top Blue, or Suicide, or Mez, or wherever. That Warden can be used anywhere. So I think getting rid of him, perfect call by the Dragons.
Yeah, I have to agree. I feel like that's a really nice one as well. That's a C4 off the board and a shotgun as well to follow. Realistically, it's a very strong operator to have and can be a real thorn in the side when it comes to those high traffic positions, like you say, Boiler and Top Piano. Like you say, we're not going to find them. What we are going to see, though, is actually a mirror being brought out, and we are going to see that for the bar game site, which makes a lot of sense. You get Embuemo, you get that mirror window in stock, they can cover down that site. Rather than just having to play in that little corner, we saw Zorn hiding in a couple of rounds. Embuemo has a lot more maneuverability, they have a lot more flexibility where they can stand, and it feels a lot more aggressive to an attacking team when they see that staring at them. They have to assume that a player's there's that phantom pressure to follow, and then there'll be another mirror window up at this top floor. We've talked about how important clearing out that mez, clearing that library position is. Well, now the SEA Dragons are going to have to show a masterclass in it. You've got Old Man Lego Long, the House MD player of Doc, going to be playing inside that suicide position, backed up with another player, but the Bromas are there from the Pit Police as well, so they're going to need to be cleared out as well, which is realistically going to fall down to Vex and Zorn.
I mean, yeah, them two, they're just going to go about clearing river. Something I'm a little confused at though. Okay.
Yeah.
You know they've got the mirror on side. Yes, you drag out the mirror, but you switch off the mirror. Not the mirror. You switch off the Ash, the one true hard counter to mirror, for the Nomad, just by already having a gridlock on side. I get, you like to double up, but for bar games, that's a little bit overkill. And especially when that mirror is going to be locking down the site, I do think that's a little bit of an oversight from Zorn in calling that. Was not an oversight though. Meep taking down Billy Ray. Good entry. That's the gridlock gone. But again, not much impact. But Meep, do they know he's repositioned? Yes, they do. Good clear from Vex. 4v4, though he does take a lot of damage here.
Yeah, now I could forgive not switching off that Ash if they had a much more vertical pressure lineup, but they don't have that. They're going for the CEO side. They're going over towards Piano. They're just going to brute force this. They're going to look for these kills and look to push in. And that's when the mirror, like you say, can be a big, big problem. The Flores drone will be going through utility clearing. Just take your time, get everything dealt with. Even the BPs need to go. Any information can make things much better for yourself as an attacking side. Pockets will get naded out, but will not go down. Vex will fall, and as a result, there is a chance of being rezzed, and that will be taking place. But it's given the defenders time that they need. Time and Buemo needs to get this C4 position. This could be horrible if it lands in the perfect spot, taking down the Monty. And as Shaq is covering, it looks like the Pit Ponies are able to pressure the Dragons into stalling out just a little bit. But again, now Flores is going to keep applying it to them. It's going to get that information where these players are, and it's going to make them move out of these positions where they feel a lot more comfortable. You see one of them's already moved to Mez. They're going to have to deal with that Monty. They're going to have to deal with Zorn trying to push them forward. But it's going to be Vex who falls of the very low HP. Deimos will be taken away. Zorn will be able to find an answer over towards Mez. Takes down the Thorn. And that blue player starts to push up. Packets will drop back and will just play it safe because 15 seconds are ticking on the clock. The C4 goes out. It's going to find Shaq. And now Zorn has to push it to side because with 9 seconds, the case in board. And when Buemo finding the kill, it's just the round shut down on time. The Pit Ponies, they lost players above and they lost utility, but they played the time perfectly. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
That's such a poorly called and poorly executed round from the Dragons. Mismatch utility. I'm sorry, that's the name of it. The reason they took so long is because the only thing they have to clear, top blue, all the the mirrors, the shields, the ADSs, the bulletproofs, any of this utility, is Flores drones. That's all they've got. They don't have a Grim on side that they've bought now or a Capital. Throw your mind back. Those Pit Ponies attacks, what did they bring? They bought, I know the Ace is banned, but they bought an Ace, they bought a Capital, they bought Sledge to go under, they bought things that would directly deal with these positions that were being played. Whereas the Dragons kind of just bought whatever. Double flank watch for bar and games. You bought double flank watch for bar and games, along with a Monty.
Yeah.
Along with a Monty. And the Deimos as well. The only clearing util you had were nades on the Deimos, maybe some flashes on the and the Gridlock, sorry, maybe some flashes on the Nomad and the Flores drones, who also had flashes. That's it. That's all you bought to clear one of the most util heavy setups you will face in Siege. That is a very poorly called round for the Dragons, and no wonder it took them until max time to even get close to the site because there's so much util in your way. So going forward, they need to address that, and I think they have done very well with the Ying, with the Lion, the Blitz, and the Capital, along with the Ash. Never mind about the Lion.
Bit of swagger there. Meep's going to be able to find Rex, takes that player down, and in doing so, takes that little bit of sting out of the Dragon's attack, because now they're going to realize they have to slow things down. They have to make sure that you don't let the Pit Ponies compound this advantage now. They've got the Blunty, they've got the Blitz of Zorn going to go below. They have the Candelas in hand as well. They're going to go for a very fast push. Billy Ray and Zorn are going to take control of West Main, push into Kitchen. They're going to have the players going up above as well. This Malusi is going to give away the name of the game. The Vert and the player in West is going to go. The C4 falls. It does damage to Vex, but doesn't find the kill. And Candela goes out to get a little bit more back, but Meep's going to be finding Vex, taking down that player on the Capital. As Buemo finds Zorn as well. It's all just going wrong. They're running into the blender. And now Billy Ray and Shaq both not in a position to make anything happen as Legalong finds another. It's all down to push in. No Candelas. They have a smoke on site, but when they're jumping in through one window, it's just not going to help them at all. It's only going to give the name of the game away. They don't have any other real opportunity to push site because the Pit Ponies have lost nothing. They're all still full HP. And they've nearly cleaned out this entire lobby, so we need Shaq to really step things up, find a kill here. Isn't able to do it. The damage goes down, and I think they're just going to take this time and say, right, we've got 2 rounds to work with. What are we going to do?
You need a full reset here if you're the side of the Dragons, because there's clearly something so wrong in your intel gathering of what you're doing. One Malusi Banshee has completely secured that round for the side of the Pit Ponies, because that Malusi's not there, and then obviously the Blitz runs up, doesn't give any of the info, but because the Blitz gets stuck in the Malusi, it gives time for Meep to come round onto the on the bathroom and just do so much damage, especially with Rex being taken down as a spawn peak. Fine, let's put that to the side. Let's say, you know what, that just happens, let's not bother, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Let's ignore that. Even in that, you're trying to rush into a Malusi gadget with Vert above you with 4 different angles to watch. With no one pressuring Vert, with no one really pressuring trophy side either, and absolutely no one pressuring lobby side, you have just said to every single defender, all 5 of them that are alive, by the way, hey, look at me, I'm right here, I'm defenseless because I don't have a gun up, please come shoot me, please come kill me. It's just to the side of the Dragons, I don't know what that was. I genuinely don't know what they are doing right now. So it's either they buck their ideas up going into this round and decide to, you know, actually deal with the util and figure out what they want to do, or this game is getting away from them very quickly.
Yeah, remember, they only have 1 round before they find themselves on match point, and being on that match point position means going into that they have to play that perfect game of Siege just to keep them in favour when they go into their map pick of Nighthaven Lamps, which is a map that you expect the Ponies, if they can play Chalet, they could probably play Nighthaven as well. Like you said, it plays very clubhousey in some certain aspects. It's a map that I feel the Pit Ponies won't really struggle with once we get to it. So we need to see the Dragons really buck the ideas up, like you say. Now the mirror window is still being brought out. That isn't going to be banned just yet because we're not there. But Meep again! Why are the Sea Dragons giving them that opportunity to get that kill? That is the Habana taken away on a basement site. Yes, there's still some hard breach gadget on Vex, but look at that util that's just been ripped away from them. That's boiler, that's main breach being opened. At this point, they're lucky to get a hatch.
It's the most default spawn peak on Chalet. I'm sorry, I'm getting so mad because we have watched these Dragons for the whole time we've been casting. We have seen how fantastic they can be and how coordinated they can be. This is not the Dragons that we saw. So I'm getting mad because this isn't them. We could be seeing them put this game very competitively, but they're dying to the most default spawn peak, probably top 5 default spawn peaks in the entirety of Siege. People in silver know that spawn peak. Luckily, for the side of the Dragons, Zorn will find 4 and takes a lot of damage with him, but that's something. That's something you can now work on. Never mind, there goes the Grim of Vex, and Zorn goes down to the exact same Jaeger. We'll probably be able to recover, and we'll probably get more HP as he recovered. But now for the side of the Dragons, you need someone to step up. Maybe Billy Ray can be that though, as he does find a kill. But I don't know if they know about Meep, who was crawling in on this. Okay, right, well there goes Jaeger. Rex managed to find Jaeger, and now they're in a 2 versus 3 on the side of the Pit Ponies. But again, Meep, do they know about him on this West Main? That's going to be the big, crucial piece in this round. Can Meep get active? Maybe he can. I think they do know about him given that smoke. So now they're going to focus on the site. They know it's a 3 versus 1 on this site. Never mind. There's Meep on the site. We'll get taken down. Rex, now, we'll take Meep. Mbwemo in a 1 versus 2. We'll take Zorn. What can he do here? Bulletproof is going to be giving him a steady stream of information. It doesn't matter. He's the one who needed to step up. And the round that honestly looks pretty lost for the Dragons has finally turned in their favour. They have managed to figure out what they are going to do. And that is a 5v4, and that is a foot in the door on this attacking side.
That was much better, but it was still very messy from the side of the Dragons. They lost that player on the spawn peak, like you say, that really shouldn't have been there, let alone a Hibana peak at that spawn peak. Shouldn't have had. Well, that's just a big no-no. They lost those early players. They were crawling to keep up at that player count at that point as well. So when it came to that execute, they were struggling. They were able to take advantage of the fact that they knew Meep was there. They could smoke them off, and then they had the confidence of that one player on site. They take that gunfight. They know they can refrag. That's much better. They just need to keep it going. We're going to find ourselves going back to Bar Gaming Room. The Grim and Mirror have both been banned out. These two operators make a lot of sense to herself. The Mirror, we've seen how the ponies can play off of it. The Dragons, they brought a Nomad, thankfully. Because for me, I was going to talk about how they went from having too many flank watchers. They then went in that last round to having none, and having to rely on the drone cameras, having to rely on the information they already had about where Meep was playing. Bringing that Nomad, they at least have that now, and now they have the Ash, they have the Twitch. The key operators that they really needed to deal with the Mirror, they now have, but that's fine, because look at it. Look at the util that's going to be put up in blue, and look at the util that they're going to be putting over towards this stock side. The Frost Mats, the Malusi Banshees, the shield, that all needs to be dealt with, and that's going to be dealt with by those two operators there. Aurora and Bravo will be switched out, but they do keep that gridlock just to make sure that they still have that little bit of flank watch, which is also important. I don't think we can talk too much about it.
It's a much better lineup compared to what we saw last time. I mean, that's all I'm going to say on it. Meep again with the spawn peak, so he doesn't. Surely he can't find another. I don't think he will, because no one's going to give him it. But it is truly something incredible if he does find another. But again, that's a much better util on side of Dragons, and it looks like they have a much more focused of what they want to do with Downflower, with the smokes, with the gridlocks, and well, now without the Bravo, as Meep does find Zorn, as we were saying. This looks like a more direct sight hit, and it's going to be a little bit more hampered now given Zorn is gone. But again, you can still pull this off in a 5v4 very easily.
But we've seen the Dragons here before. They've had the Blitz ready in position. They've lost that opening player to the spawn peak. The Pit Ponies, they've been here before. They've been here 100 times. They know what they're doing. And now that Aurora goes off on 45, this means that they won't get pressured from that mezzanine side. However, it doesn't mean they have any support, and they're going to face this player over towards Bar all by themselves. Smoke canisters will start to go off. Shaq has to find a kill to put on the board, and has to find that entry. Has to find that moment. C4 goes out, opens up that mez, and Meep will be able to find another player taking down Vex, taking down Aurora. Rex has an answer onto Meep. We'll find that player and get that case back up. But half the round is gone, and they're still looking behind them. The Pit Ponies, they don't have the information. They're only just putting the flank camera down to cover their backside. That's not the spot they need to be in, because now the Pit Ponies, they're just going to be looking at them. They can play the mez, they can go for the swing, they can do anything they want, because they have time on their side. They have a player count on their side. Bullets will go out, damage will be dealt, but nothing to kill anyone just yet. Legalong will be able to find not one but two kills though, and shuts this round down seemingly for good, giving them a match point as Mr. Packets closes it down, and the Ponies will win Bar Gaming again and find themselves on that match point on not even their map, on their map pick. Sorry,
it was too little from the Dragons. That's all it was. Ponies, again, credit where credit's due. Ponies are reading into them fantastically and are setting up fantastically. Meep has been having an absolutely brilliant map here so far. I think there's nothing you could take away from that. But from the Dragons, for that attack specifically, too little. You gave your cards way too early when you rower off that door. You know, it's very obvious what you're going to do. You haven't put any pressure on library, you haven't put any pressure on site itself. You know, it's very easy if you're a defender to say, okay, they're just going to come through kitchen only. It's very easy to say that. So once that rower goes off and the smoke goes down and you don't move, you've basically just assigned yourself a death sentence.
I don't think Pit Ponies are necessarily... I think the read is good, yeah, but I think the thing I really want to highlight is the adaptation that they're bringing. As soon as they see that what's happening, as soon as Meep gets behind them in that kitchen there and gets that kill, they realize, well, these operators are here, that Aurora's just gone off. Just adjust everything. That Mez player becomes so much more powerful. They know they're not going to be pushed out. So then they can just focus on holding these lines of sight, holding the gunfights. They know that they can win. And as a result, we see them going to kitchen dining. The first time I believe we're going to see, well, the second time that we're going to see this site. And I do expect the Pit Ponies to hold it in a very similar way. Aggressive small peak at the start, vertical pressure that realistically the SEA Dragons are worried that they might not be ready to deal with.
He's done it again. He's done it again.
Okay, right. We need to have a not being spawn camp boot camp, I swear. There's something has to happen. You can't keep getting away with it.
I don't understand. I don't understand. And do you know what's the annoying thing? It's the same player. It's me again. Same exact player doing it to you again and again and again. When are you going to learn? Don't go up on the rock. Don't even bother going near that rock. Spawn somewhere completely different. Because now you've lost possibly one of your most impactful players in Vex, one of your clutch players. You're Sophia, like you said. And it just happened again. I don't actually know if Dragons have a single opening kill, and they won't even have a good man advantage here. As Meep takes down Rex, that's your other very big player on the side of the Dragons. So now we need to see someone like Shaq on that 0-6. He needs to step up. But what can they do here? They have two nades between Finker and Gridlock. You got another set of nades on the Blackbeard, on Billy Ray. But you need to find another kill here. You can't just sit back and do nothing. Shaq finally finds his first frag of this game, will step up, does take down Meep. But now you're in another man disadvantaged situation. Never mind, equalize. Zorn takes down Lego. They're back in this round now, Pit Ponies. Not Pit Ponies, Dragons.
The thing is for me though, on the side of Pit Ponies, Fawn has just been made so much stronger by those two kills coming out from Meep. Vex and Rex, the soft breachers, have gone. Like you say, yes, there's still a couple of nades on there, but they want to be using that to force these players out of position. The Aruni is still on board. There's still a Mute, and there's still a Fenrir. Still Svenja gadgets out there as well. Sea Dragons are taking their time. They're using the sims. They're getting their HP back. They have a minute left to work with. They're going to make the most of it. They realize they're not in a great spot, but they're going to do what they have to do. The nade will go out to clear that bathroom player and can push through, but the big job here is for Zorn to get on that window and apply that pressure. Get that cutoff. Don't die with this case. That's also the next important job. The shot comes out. Shaq will be able to find a Buemo. Fawn and Mr. Packet's all left on their own, but the time waste has been going incredibly well. The 20-second method makes its return as the C4 goes out. Doesn't find its mark. The ping, the 50-50 on where they go just didn't go their way. Now 20 seconds left. They're just starting to do their vertical play. They don't have time to do this. They have to get on that hatch. They have to get into sight. And they have to drop right into where the Pit Ponies are expecting them to be. The solar cam gives away that information. The barbed wire in solar does the same. Takes the damage. The player's holding, but Fawn doesn't get the shot off. Packers gets taken down. And the Azami in West Main has to look to stop this down. The plank goes down. The Azami barricade. It gives away where they're playing. They know that Blackbeard is there. There are no nades in pockets. And suddenly Fawn has just become the attacker. They're going to have to get aggressive. They're going to have to make something happen. They want to close it down, but they're not going to be able to do it. Billy Ray will keep them in the game. And the Dragons will eke out another round. One more closer to overtime.
They stepped up. The players who I said needed to step up, especially Sack. They stepped up and they secured. They've snatched that round from the Pit Ponies, it feels like. A double entry from me. The Pit Ponies able to get. The other four people on our team need to be looking at themselves there because Meep cannot keep doing this. He can't keep getting away with this. So Dragons, that is a round they shouldn't have won, but they won anyways. And, I think they'll be thanking the stars that they won it because it kept them in this game. 6-5 now. Kitchen dining again. They feel confident enough, Pit Ponies, to recite that, but with a lot of different, there's a lot of different operators to fair. The Alibi and the Echo. I think they've just said to me, whatever gun you want, go get another double entry. Just go do it again, mate. Have fun and whatever. Alibi is an operator you see normally, is it?
No, it's one that you pick when you're confident. You want that gunpowder behind it. Yes, the Geminis are great, but that's not the main reason you bring it. You bring it because it's a high rate of fire SMG. It's a goddamn laser pointer when you really want it to be. The Echo is being brought because of one of the key things that we saw at the end of that round was the time. Sea Dragons, they stalled out, they got those player advantages, but they were putting down that clock, they were putting down that case very, very late into that round. They really wanted to be in a much better position before they were doing it. 3 Yokai drones, of course they're going to be taking them on pocket over the Maestro in this case. They're going to be having the first 2.
My G.
They hold the site. The third Romans will allow Meep to go and get more kills, as well as that spawn. The Twitch is taken down, and yes, the drones are coming out from the side of Dragons, but it's too late. We know that they like speaking from K9 and peeking from Master. Get flank cams in there, get pre-placed, get the information. Are they there? Do you expect them to be there? You probably do. Have something prepared. We are not losing another opening pick to Meep at this point. They can't afford it. They just really can't, not on this match point position. Now, yes, Billy Ray is still alive, is being spotted by these Geminis, but that's not the reason why the Geminis are being brought. It's just so that if they jump in, there's a ping, there's that audible information, the visual cue as well, and defenders can either C4, or they can get an impact down. They could go for that gunfight. But I don't think they know Meep is there. Shot does come out, the shotgun will drop, and they will rotate away. They will even get a Zulon! Who's just sprinting down in games. And now over towards blue, they're going to be able to find that trade. They will take down Meep, but not before the damage is already done. The Twitch, the gridlock, and most importantly, a minute 20 taken off the clock.
Exact same situation find ourselves in. Exact same. Double entry from Meep. Get the refrag down. 4 versus 3 now. The shield from Billy Ray still up. Shaq's still up. Vex is the only difference here. But again, he's probably the one you'd want up in this situation compared to anyone else who's gone down. So we'll see now as the nade will take down a shield, immediately replaced by those army barricades. So nothing really lost there for the side of the pit ponies. But now we need to see the Dragons get back into this round like they did last one. They need another frag here and then they can start working. But again, clock is going to be working against them like it did last round. They're going to be planting here with maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds left, which is all they can do. And your diffuser is on the Ash as well. That's something you don't see every day.
On the board?
I mean, yeah, you got the Blackbeard, you got the Thinker, and you got the Ash. Who else can it be on? Never mind about the Thinker. 4 will take them down. 4 versus 2 now. This round isn't a carbon copy, it's a completely different one. Pit ponies, they have learned. They know what they did wrong last round. This is the exact same situation. They're not going to do it again. They're not going to be giving up these picks. There's too much on the line here. As Lego will take one down, and he will take the second one. Pit ponies will win Chalet after a map that was very hotly contested.
That round was over just from the fact they had an echo on the board. Lego Long over in that CEO on the half will be able to find those 2 kills to end things out and give us a Chalet that really started to bring it back for the ponies, but it still felt like they were just clawing. They were just trying to keep pace. There were things going wrong. They were finding things at the bottom of the barrel to get these rounds on the board. Whereas it felt like the pit ponies, they were just taking things in stride. They lost around, okay, that's fine. Let's just adjust very slightly, give Meep a different gun, and we'll win the next one, which is exactly what we saw there. YN, that is Chalet taken off the board. That's a 7-5 scoreline in favor of the pit ponies on their map. Not even, what are we expecting?
Hopefully nothing the same from the Dragons. Being completely honest, spawn peaked pretty much every single attacking round. Didn't get a single entry, I think, on that entire map. You have to be doing better. You cannot keep round after round, attack or defense, clawing your way back into the round, having to play from that back foot. You need to show that you can play on this front foot, that when you're in a man advantage, you will keep the man advantage. You know, I'm sweating. I've been up, down, left, right this entire map just because it's been so... It's just insane. I think it is just genuinely insane, you know, the things we're seeing. Meep, absolutely standout player, was the one who was causing us to, you know, and groan because the amount of spawn peaks he got away with is absolutely criminal. Completely criminal. And for the side of the Dragons, it does just show that lack of, you know, adaptation. You know, you're getting killed for the exact same thing round after round, and what do? Nothing. You keep spawning the same side, you keep going up the exact same rock, and nothing changes. You know, maybe after 2, you can excuse it. The first time, you know, excuse. Second time, yeah, more excuse. But the third time, no. No. And then you keep doing it a 4th time, a 5th time, a 6th time. It's just not, especially when you're in that, you know, round disadvantage, match point situations. You cannot keep giving away these very easy, probably the easiest thing to fix. You know, just don't spawn there. Spawn somewhere else. The one way to nullify him, all, you know, well and good, don't spawn there. I get you want to go for that easy opportunity to get that entry kill. You want that entry. It's right there. It's tantalizing. It's good for you. But at the same time, if you fail times 6, there's no point. There is no point. So I think for the side of the Dragons, adapt more. Do what Pit Ponies did in their attacks and defense. They barely did the same thing twice. There was always something they did different. They kept the Dragons guessing. And in the end, that's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. And that is like we see the Pit Ponies taking our first map of possible 3. If we see Pit Ponies play like that, it might just be 2 that we see today. Not Haven Lamps will be our second map, but we are going to be taking a short break because the game isn't broken this time. It's just because that's what we need to do before we do find our second map. Just get a drink, get some water. We will not be long. attacking side first, but that's what to be expected, really. We've seen it, we know that that is something that they can perform with. For me, Nighthaven, I know, you expect them to win. I'm not so worried about. What I'm worried about is if they win Nighthaven, we find ourselves on board, we find ourselves in Pit Ponies. Seeing the Pit Ponies bring out a pretty identical lineup. The only difference we're seeing here from the last round that we saw in me bringing out the mute jammer, it has to be brought in the very least. If you're not bringing it to try and deal with some of these breaches, you're at least doing it to shut down drones. You shut down those key positions where the intel needs to go through, and I feel like that's a good operator. I feel like Meeps maybe potentially waste being the operator put on that, but realistically, if you're good with one gun, you're good with all of them. If you can get kills with the without, you get kills with Lucy, kills with them with the SMG shot. But you can definitely back yourself to win those gunfights. Again, being brought time is a big issue for the Dragons on their attack, so bringing that could make sense to bring that operator, bring that denial to the label. They've got the shotgun G still if they want that shield as well.
Yeah, I think we are having a little bit of issues at the moment. Unfortunately, I'm unsure as to whether the game is still being, but we'll obviously aim to bring you that as soon as possible. But yeah, in the meantime, I think it's just, as you were doing there, just focus on these players and what we possibly saw from that first round. I mean, the ban said very that's what both teams need, isn't it? And Labs, I think as a map is very it's difficult. Very difficult map on attack and defense, because on defense you have to on so many different avenues to attack on which side you are. You go basement, you've got 2 breaches to deal with, you've got the top floor that needs to deal with, you've got EXO, you've got cargo, there's so many avenues of attack. So you go to the top floor, you've got IT, Ryan, Khan, E-Box,
Yeah.
So again, for defense, usually you're very stretched thin. It's very rare that you ever properly stack up in one place. Have 3 people top floor, 2 people bottom, and they're within units of each other. I think Abs, it's all going to come down to who can attack better and who can pick off and isolate these one-on-one gunfights more. That's the difficult thing for attack now. Is that they have to be the ones to search and to find these one-on-one gunfights. If they're not actively seeking them out, and if they're not actively, looking for any different avenue of attack, then they are just going to stall out, get picked off, and they're done. That's it.
The thing is for me as well is the fact that we're finding Dragons on that attacking side first. Like you say, that's very difficult when you're going up against a side that's just come off a defensive split. They're going on to a defensive split, and they're goddamn happy with it. You can tell that they are confident. They are just very happy to be in that situation where they don't have to be the ones going into these kill boxes. So for the side of, like I said, the Dragons, I feel like if they don't get that early momentum under their belt, they're really going to struggle. It's made all the harder for the fact that they are attacking side. Again, we are having a bit more difficulty, so what we are going to do is that we are going to take a break, make sure we can get all of our getting it all fixed, so that we can make sure that when it does come to getting the game on screen, it looks just as good as you expect it to be. So we will be back. Don't go anywhere. are back. We actually have the game functioning. We are going to see that our first round did go in favour of the Pit Ponies. We don't see how it happened, but it has gone in their favour, which worries me for the Dragons side, because now that they are around at disadvantage, they're now attacking that bottom floor. Some of the key issues I'm kind of taking a look at is the fact that we've got me able to kind of roam around. We've got the Pit Ponies good on our defense, and we don't really have any counter operators for that to kind of counter that from the Dragons. There's no Nomad, there's no Gridlock. They have a Deimos, but that relies on being able to have that information that those players are on the roam as well. And normally when we see these spawn peaks come out, there's not much info to start off with. Meep though will be going out with the TCSG, trying to find our opening pick, but will not be able to find it for what I feel is probably the first time. I mean, they didn't get it last time actually as well, because you see they didn't get any kills in the last round. But it looks like Dragons are going to focus a little bit more towards the breach rather than get the vert, which is going to be good if they get that fast execute. But if it stalls out, this could go horribly wrong for them.
See, I think I know exactly what the Dragons are going to be doing here. I think they're going for an Animus Rush. Look at how they're set up. They have the Ying, they've got the Capital, these hard breach chargers on side, they have the Monty. This is something we only really see for an Animus Rush, and I think the Pit Ponies are reading into it. They're just going to be touching his corner. If Dule know, the Doc could be called as well, coming out such a... Oh, it's so unfortunate, because they won't be able to hear that Meeper's on the other side, or even if they do, they're not going to deduct that he's on the side of the breach, are they? Why would you? And there's the kill for Meep. That's the Ying gone down. One Candela will go out. They will know where he is now. It's all about clearing him, and they won't clear him, and they definitely will not clear that lesion of Mr. Package. You can guarantee that for sure. The Vert coming in now. It will be smoked offload. Great smokes from Vex. Plant is going down for Zorn, but will take damage to the gas canisters. Almost going to go down here. Will go down here in Waymo. Great kill from him. Vex will find one back as a form, but will be downed himself. 4v2 now, effective 4v2. Meep trying to find another onto Billy Ray, who is going to go for the reds onto Vex. Never mind, baits out the reds to get Meep. Possibly take us back into 3 versus 3. Vex has been found out on this leg. Doesn't matter though, hits a beautiful shot onto Mr. Packets, and now this round has been completely flipped on his head. It's all topsy-turvy here. Who knows what's happened? As Lego will take down Billy Ray. Vex will take more damage from Goomine. Can't take too many of them, mate. 2 versus 2 now, but Vex is so low. However, Pit Ponies are all gathered. Both of them on that side. Oh, he's going to push up. He's going to push up. They trade damage, but Dragons, Vex, and Rex both so low. But again, it doesn't matter though, because Old Man Lego, he will find Rex, and Vex so low again, as mentioned, in the 2v1. He's found himself in these situations time after time. Has a half clutch win percentage. Can he do it here? Will slowly sneak up now. They don't know where he is, just some suicide shots coming out of Embuemo. Vex will send some shots out of his own, but again, he is now split. They have split onto either side of him in that crossfire. Vex, 20 seconds, has to go for one. We'll try and go for the smoke first. Last smoke canister coming out, 17 seconds left, and you feel like with no diffuser, it's unwinnable, and it is, as Lego will finish it off with a headshot. HP be damned, and that is a very chaotic round coming out on both sides.
Yeah, very well played from Lego at the end there to kind of bring it back, bring that even scoreline, and then get that advantage at the end to the 2 versus 1. Pit Ponies, that was very well played from me. Again, just kind of bringing into the fact that with that tuber out, with that breach going off, they won't hear that Dockerby scan, they won't hear that player's there. Very good timing as well, because it got rid of the utility. That Dockerby was put straight onto a cooldown afterwards. The big thing for me there was that the aggression, because Meep was able to get away with that first kill so quickly, they took down the Ying. That was the big driving operator, the wedge that was supposed to carve a way into Animus for them. They didn't get that control. They didn't get into Animus like they wanted. They were pushed through. So then as soon as they look over towards that main breach, they used the hard breach gadget, and Leg was just sat in storage holding the vert. Yes, the Capital did really well to put the smoke down there, but if that smoke doesn't last forever, it works in a fast plant, it works in a fast push, but they didn't have any control of the site. They got in, they started to get a plant down, and got taken down very quickly. That round was nearly brought back by the Dragons, but it was still sitting with the Ponies, who will find themselves going up. And again, on 2 rounds to none at the moment, the storage and control site. This is the one now that you really expect the Ponies to win, and they need to focus on the vert. They need to focus on dealing with these players above. And it's something that they've really struggled to kind of address in quite a few rounds. We saw it in Chalet, we saw it in that last round. The vert play is something the ponies do well, and the dragons don't tend to counter incredibly well.
Yeah, I think, again, for this site, the and the lurk below is a very crucial thing. As you see, it's going to be a straight one-on-one between the pulse and the nook. Both these lurkers now in a duel off Embuemo versus Vex, and it looks like Embuemo will just fall back a little bit. No, never mind, he's just gathering intel. Shaq will misdrone him though, has not found him. He's got to do a little bit more thorough job than that. I think he will. No, yeah, he will. They've clocked that he's in Animus. There we go. There's the confirmation from Shaq. And now in Buemo, it's just a case of survival here. No survival though for Billy Ray. Will be taken down as another entry pick goes the way of the pit ponies. That is the Ash gone. As you see now in Buemo, being forced out by Zorn on this Blackbeard. Will be forced away. That C4 and the Pulse Scammer will become nullified just for the moment, at least. However, there is no lurk now. A lurk is usually defined by people not knowing you're there. People know you're downstairs. Lego Drax, Lego with a second on the round. Now all of the dragons are stuck downstairs now. Well, at last Shaq will get back up top, but again, 5 versus 3 this round, especially from the side of Lego, has looked absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the nade will go out, look to kill out Mbuemo, but it's not going to be the nade that does it. It's going to be Vex Cap picking up on that push out. Leg has the answer, though. Zorn will drop, and like you say, the whole round's just down below. Shaq has the answer and will find packets. But they can't go above. They have case. They can't go solo. They have to try and find a way to reconsolidate, especially with the HP they have. A minute 15 ticking down the clock, and again, pit ponies have that vertical control, they have that domination, and they have a player advantage alongside the time. And when you look at the HP, it's basically 3-1 already. There's a Thorn Gadget on the board, there's barbed wire at least going to be somewhere on that floor, and it feels very, very confident for the pit ponies already. Shots will come out, won't find the one round it needs to hit the Shaq, but the shotgun might be able to do exactly that though. Looks for the revolver instead, and yeah, this round, it just feels like it's stalled out. Vex has gone up defending, trying to be that second angle of approach, that second avenue. It could be huge if they can pull this off, but they've already shot the camera out. They've given away the position. Leap's going to be able to win that gunfight because Vex decided to shoot something that couldn't even see them. And now Shaq on this window has to jump in. Has that DMR, has a very heavy hitting DMR, but most importantly, is going to go up against 3 defenders with very good defensive weapons. Meat will close it down. And another round in favor of the pit ponies. The big iron on his hip, summing that up perfectly there for me. And the dragons, it's the vert that needs to be focused on. I mean, they've tried going down below on the lurk, but like you say, they committed a bit too much to it. They go above. They could start at least having some side control. They just didn't have it that round, did they?
No, they didn't even bring any operators to get it. You know, no Hibana, no Maverick, no Ram, nothing. That round is pure. For them, pure and simple. They would just wanted to take basement and go up through, you know, Exo and go up through cargo. You know, that was their plan, and they got thwarted by a single pulse. A single pulse thwarted them and stopped them so much that it allowed Lego to get a second off of his entry, and done. That was the round. That's flatlined. And we saw it so many times on Chalet. The moment they go down into a 2-man or more disadvantage, it's just the round's gone. It's done. There's nothing Dragon to do. It's like they mentally check out unless they get gifted these kills back. Which is, again, we saw that a lot on Chalet with pit ponies giving up a lot of 3v5s. But that wasn't from the Dragon searching, that was just from pit ponies gifting them. So now, if you're the side of the Dragons, like we said, it's almost done once they're 3-0 down. Mentally, they don't recover from this usually. So they are going to have to pull out something special. They have to get at least 2 of these next 3 to go into a decently competitive attacking side. Otherwise, we can call time this game by round 5.
Exactly. I have to agree there. And the thing is, they're going back to this top floor, which was the site that they were on in the first game, which is the site that they lost. I feel like Sea Dragons now, they're going to be pushing in there. The mental battle is going to be just as hard as the fight they're going up against ponies at the moment now, because they know that they know what they're going to be going up against most likely. They know that they've struggled to deal with it before. I feel like at least the top floor, it's a bit more simplified in the sense of that it's not the control like we've just seen where you have to get the vertical and then push onto site. You can just start going for that lateral attack. As long as you have garage pressure and you have that connector pressure, there's something you can do. It's not too bad. Again, though, we need to be careful, because if we're not being careful and we're not paying attention, Legolong might be able to just jump out of cargo window. The information of the shield will give away that position. This spot over the road towards rafters will be able to call that jump out as well. But before taking damage, they're not able to cover it just yet, and Lego will back off just a little bit, realizing maybe they're not going to be that useful in that position. That makes sense. Reposition somewhere that you can better help your teammates. Keeping that rafters really is just going to stall out this entire round if they're able to do it successfully. Legolong taking that rafters will definitely be backing up Thorn if they can get away with this. Now, I don't think the Dragons know about it. Shaq's able to find one kill, though. The Blackbeard will take damage, but isn't going to fall just yet. That's going to be Zorn who gets taken off the board. And Rex will get downed as well. The Vector sings his horrible song of death. And now Billy Ray sat towards our rafter side, not alone, but it feels like they are. And it feels like this round is slipping away from them yet again. The Echo's still inboard, the Mirror as well. The Sea Dragons haven't been able to deal with any of this so far. But as Shaq finds Legolong, an entryway has been made into IT. A 2 versus 3, don't get me wrong, but it's still something. That Case is still down. The Yokai is still there. Meep with the big iron will find Shaq, and now Billy Ray's all on their own, so no nades in pocket. They are going to get caught off, and I believe that's a pick. Oh no.
Oh no.
Caught in the back.
With the shotgun. I mean, oh, it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse and worse. You know, it's like a train wreck in slow motion, but you can't look away. You just can't. I mean, positives for that round for Dragons. You got the entry. Fantastic. Negatives, everything else. You got the entry, did nothing with it.
Yeah.
You went for a haphazard play, you know, haphazard rush into rafters to take that control. Didn't bother getting the mirror off firstly, with no denial, no Jaeger, no Might, by the way. Could have just sent Rex around and got that, but no, don't need to. And then you just, again, flatline, die. There's nothing. Nothing there. So, in terms of what Dragons are actually doing, I don't know. I can't even analyze it, because they're just throwing themselves. It's like mentally, they have given up. And if they lose this round, I think we will be able just to say, Pit Ponies, well season 10 champions. I don't like being a negative person. I don't like it, but I'm finding it increasingly more difficult for Dragons to get back into this game.
It's stepping away from negativity to more just realism at this point. Pit Ponies, they're going to be heading down below. Again, they're not going to change anything about the defensive setup, because why do they need to? Yes, Meep now has brought Rook, but I think, again, it's just for the gun. They're feeling the confidence. They want the little bit of armor they've got. They can take the gunfights. They're just gonna do it. They're going for the clips now. Sea Dragons, that it has to be taken. You can see they've identified that and they've adapted, so they have the operators to do it. Blitz for that fast control, Shaq to get the vert done, and Rarua to give them a little bit of breathing room when they do go for that execute. Is the drone work? Is the drone clear going to be done properly? That's the next question. So Leg does get spotted out. That means Blitz does have that information. They know that they're there, but they don't know about Meep, to my knowledge. And while that push will come through, they'll start getting that mid-floor. But if they leave Meep, if they leave that Rook above, especially with the shotgun, the ability for the to work with, that could be horrible.
No way.
The drop comes out with the revolver. They're not able to find the kill. Vex will be able to shut them down. The opening pick in favor of Sea Dragons. They were here in this position last time that we were on last round, but they weren't able to get around out of it. Can they do that? Can they make that change now? Are they going to be able to? With Legolong being pushed out of this game's position, well, of course, they wasted time. But Shaq finds that kill. A 3 versus 5 and 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay, I don't know how Rex managed to find that kill. He was on his drone forward. He was on his drone. That should be the freest kill. We'll get picked up by Mbwengwe, but a 2 versus 4 now. You know, again, you got the 3 smokes in pocket. This is still very doable for the Pit Ponies. But, Dragons, they've just come out looking completely brand new. Maybe some talk has happened. Maybe they've realised, guys, we can actually still win this. Let's not just give up after 3 rounds. So again, this is a renewed confidence for the Dragons. Now, they will take the time droning. They know exactly what they've got to do. They have info on both of them. No one's pillar and no one's coming pushing Exo. Who will damage the guy on pillar? They can go for this Exo door plant. They should be able to get this down pretty easily. And there goes the Legion that was on pillar. It's now just in Mbwengwe. We'll finally use one of his smokes early into the round, but that plant, it's already gone down on Exo. There's nothing you can really do. You know, at this point, virtually it's just gone down, and it doesn't even matter if it actually does go down, because Billy Bray will mop up for the Dragons, and finally, we are seeing some life in this Dragons team on this Labs attack.
As soon as they adjust and they go up to that top floor, they start to do that roam clear, they take it. They get that round. They take it to a fact that Pit Ponies, at this point, are confident. They're playing cocky. Meep is jumping down with a revolver, trying to get the mid-air revolver kill. Take it. Get that kill. Somebody's crouch walking out of breach that you made. Rex, yeah, you shouldn't have got that kill, but you're not going to complain. You're going to take that. They took the vert, the blitz, the Aurora, and the Ram all worked together. They had the vertical that they needed. They had the Aurora to cut those positions off to make sure that the flanks weren't a problem late round, which is something we see quite a bit of. And then the execute. It was there. They had the player advantages. The cutoffs are in position. It was a much better round. And now, that's one round on the board for them. They need to do it 6 more times. They need to do it, otherwise they're going to lose Welsh Season 10. But one round makes all the difference mentally, doesn't it? Especially when you're going back to this side to go on the attack.
I mean, absolutely, it makes all the difference. And we're seeing them go for a much more traditional take on this side. You know, bring the Abanda, bring in the Ram, still keep on a Dockerby and a Thinker. I mean, yeah, sure, that's fine. You need your fraggers fragging out on them. But again, I said before we went into this, you know, second split on their attack, they need to get 2 of the 3. They've got 1 of them now. They can take the second. We are now talking about a game. But again, they need to find this round. This is probably the make or break whether Team Dragons get back into this game or whether we're going to see Pit Ponies just run away with it and then we can call them champions. This is what we're going to see here.
I feel like Sea Dragons are definitely going for the vert. They've realised going down below just isn't working. Maybe don't bother with that lurking player. Just kind of have that extra body up above for these early gunfights. And I think that's the right decision to make, especially with Meep. Again, going for a couple of spawn... Buemo going for a spawn peek down below. The problem is, though, as you probably figured out, Meep is going to jump out on that vert with the revolver. They'll get away with it this time, but the frag grenade is there. Do the Sea Dragons have these cutoff players? Yes, they do. The refrag will follow, but Mbuemo is the player that I was going to talk about. They're still down below, they're still pulse, and they still have a C4. In fact, Old Man Leg and Fawn both have C4s as well. One of them will go off, but it won't find its mark, and doing damage to Billy Ray doesn't really mean much when that player has Thinker Stims in pocket. Shaq, though, will be taken down. That Ash is taken off the board, and Mr. Packets will be able to find Rex as well. Things are starting to slip away here. But the drone comes out. Do they play off that information? Do they get the kill onto the water? And yes, Fawnstar will go down. But with 2 players in rafters, there's still a lot of work to do.
3v2. Time is, as you said, time is ticking. The pulse is still below, though. So that C4 still active. But it won't matter because the Rooney of Mr. Packets will just start up and firing. And Zorn, he's been very quiet all this map. What can he do here? We'll find one onto Mr. Packets, and now he's got to deal with this pulse who's still below, and Lego, who's having a fantastic game, and who has just retaken Aqua. And I don't think there's a drone for this. Clearly they have no info on this, because Lego is just moving up. His drone wouldn't even catch him. If Lego moves, he can just get this and finish this round right now. Zorn's still on his drone. Nothing is going to be done. Lego, he sees him. He's just going to wait, and he will find the frag. That is the crucial round. That is the possible make or break round, like I said, going in the way of Pit Ponies, who will go into the attack half 5-1. And while Labs can be a very defender-sided map, 6-0 defense taking regulation is not going to happen for the Dragons. Let's be realistic. Pit Ponies, with how good they've been in their attacks, like we saw on Chalet, they will at least have to take 1 hit. For the Dragons, you have to set your sights realistic and aim for overtime. You have to do it. You have to basically be perfect from here on out, otherwise you've lost this game.
There's no basically about it. They need to be perfect because they need to do this and then they need to go to overtime. They need to win out the overtime and then they need to go to border. They need to contest with Meep on border. They need to contest with Mbuemo being able and Joe being being able to get these aggressive gunfights coming out. And again, they need to be ready for these early fights. If they're not going down below, then they're going above. They have to be ready. On the defense, it's not as big of an issue. At least there is one small mercy that we can look at, YN, and that is that Meep cannot spawn peek again.
I mean, yeah.
He'll try and find a way, but he can't do it for now, at least. He'll try and take those early gunfights, and the Dragons have a little bit of reprieve in that sense. Now that they're on the defense, this is what I was worried about. on Chalet, they went on defense, and we were able to start bringing things back a little bit. Now, though, they've been off defense for a while. They have to get back into that. They have to feel that confidence again, and they're going to feel shaken after dropping 5 rounds almost. They can't afford to make a mistake, yet this round you expect to win. But then you go down below, and that's a bit more messy, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it can be a bit more messy, but again, this round should just be in the bag for the Dragons. As long as they don't do anything silly, don't mess up, don't try and take stupid risks, don't do anything dumb, and this round is yours. That's the mantra that should be running through their heads. Don't do anything dumb. You have the Zama, you got the mirror, you have the tub for the, the denial, you've got the Rooney, you've got the Warden. This is such a good setup for you up top that no matter what, I think Pit Ponies take, it shouldn't really be losable. So again, we have to see them just play Siege, play their game, control the game. Don't let Pit Ponies get in and start making a racket, start doing what they want. Deny them. Don't just let them run around.
Whereas the Pit Ponies are going to be looking to do exactly that. They're going to look to get in, get space, and make every advantage theirs. Connector going to get opened up very quickly. Meep will take quite a bit of damage from the meeting side, but will be very confident with that pistol. Wins that fight, and Vex gets taken down. Yavruni, the DMR, will be picked off, and now Mav will get to work on that electrical breach, or that IT side. This is just the second angle that we're talking about. They're going to focus towards that connector side, and Mr. Pancakes will be taken down. But those breaches are getting opened up. The Twitch drone will try and deal with these mirror windows. Will miss, but is able to get it open anyway because the mirror missed as well. Oh, that's heartbreaking, especially in this situation. Especially when Meep is going for another kill to electrical. Finding Billy Ray. Looks at another one. Able to find that third. They might as well go for the ace at this point. And you know what? I reckon he will. The scan goes out. Gets that information, spots where Shaq is playing, and just sort of able to find that. Shaq will win that duel though, and now we're in a 2 versus 2. Now the Dragons, now they have to do it. You said, and don't be stupid, don't be silly. You can win this round. But with 4-star finding Zorn and finding Shax, Pit Ponies will be on grand final point for Season 10.
The Big Iron's thirsty. The Big Iron's got your name on it, and it's coming for you. That's all the Meeps can really say. I mean, he's been absolutely lethal. I mean, just in that round alone, getting the first 3 entries, no matter what else was happening. I think that first one, very silly coming out from Vex. You took your first shot, you run away. He stayed, he got greedy, he stayed and paid the price for it. Take your first shot, you did some damage, just run away, don't give over the pick. And that was it. I think that kill comes in, no matter the equalizer that Rex got, it doesn't matter. You've lost the first pick in such a bad way that it's just such a mental shatterer. And I think again there was some little micro things that went wrong, like Rex, missing that Twitch drone that came in, it was just it's just little micro things, and we're now sat here 6-1 after a very thriller chalet.
Yeah.
It just this looks like more Pit Ponies map pick than it does for the Dragons.
I think that's actually... I think that's something I want to hammer in. It's Tony's map pick. That was Chalet. They won Chalet. It was a closer game than what we're seeing at the moment. The Sea Dragons are having opportunities, and it feels like they're squandering them. Apart from one round where they really made it work, and we just saw a different team, a different side of the Dragons. But it's possible. It exists. It's there. They just need to unlock it. They need to have that coordination to say, if not in this game, at least in the future. They need to have the coordination to say, right, we're going to work this operate. These are the players that are going to take this push. And also, yeah, like you say, take a look and think, right, micro decision making. Are we doing the right thing? Should we be re-peaking this? Should we be retaking these gunfights? No, don't do it, especially at a disadvantage. If you're Meep, your team's on grand final point, and you're 9-5 at the moment, sure, go for it. But you're not. There's work that needs to be done. There's definitely a lot of potential from the Dragons, but it's just not being converted into actual points that we're seeing. The Pit Ponies on match point will be looking for this execute quite quickly. The Grim scans do go out. The drones will follow with the information from Connector, so Meep knows. Right, no one's going to be Connector, putting that pressure on me. Here's what I'm going to be dealing with on the site. Puts a nade over, that will try and force that mirror out of that position, and in doing so will open an opportunity. The barbed wire will fall, so will Shaq, opening up the site for that execute. And Embuemo taking that control presence, that connector presence, will be able to get that a little bit more into sight. As we get taken down, Vex is going flank. This time, they've not stuck their head at a window. They're not going to be giving away that kill. They're going to be going around trying to find Embuemo, but Fawns falls as well to Rex. And now 2 versus 4. Something massive is needed from the Pit Ponies. They really need to find some fire under them if they want to get this round. That mirror window, the big problem. Packets will take it down. This means that just Zorn's aware. Well, they're probably going to be pushing in. Rex, back me up here. Find that kill. Rex is going to find another one. And that's going to be the Sea Dragons keeping in it for another round. But now they just need to find 4 more.
It starts here. If you're the Dragons, this is where it starts. A big 4K from Rex. That's something to get hyped about. That's something to get your morale up. Get back into this game. Yes, you've got 4 more rounds. It is an immense task just to push it to overtime, let alone win it. You know, if they want to win this Creedy, they've got to get 6 rounds. 6 rounds in a row. Well, not even in a row. Let's say what, 5 rounds in a row. You know, that is a lot of rounds. That's more rounds than you've actually won this entire series. So you're staring that in the face. That's looking at you eye to eye. You've just got to go head on. There's nothing you can do. You can't run. You can't hide. There's nothing to fall back on now. You know, you don't have any rounds to give up. You have to do this in a row. No mistakes. And it starts here. It starts now. Very good play from Brad. Good to see him get into this game after the stellar chalet we saw from him. And for the side of Pit Ponies, you've got 4 rounds. They have something to fall back on. They know they can go to the next round. This one messes up. It's time to do something different. It's time to just get creative with it. Catch Dragons off guard, because I think that's the only way they're really going to be able to, win this, aside from just out-aiming them.
Yeah. The Ponies, though, they also know they can afford to lose those 4 rounds. They can afford to lose overtime. They can lose this map and still go in my eyes, the favourites when we get to border. So they've got very little to lose. They have that comfort break. Sea Dragons, this is where diamonds are made. So I talked about that potential that we saw for the Dragons. I liked it. That was good. They played smart. They were thinking, right, why are we peeking? Do we need to peek this gunfight? No, okay. Does Rex need to be taking that gunfight at the very start? No. Get them round, late round. That's exactly where we need them to be. Let's just keep this going. Let's just keep this roid in. That micro decision making has to be there. As Billy Ray looks for possibly the first gunfight, will take damage and will start to run away, but will not be taken away. In fact, that's going to be Vex who has that honor, falling to me, being punished for the quality of round that they just shown out. But now the cutoffs are there. There's no player over towards that cargo side, which means they can get away. But Legolong gets taken down by Zorn. They even things up, and the knock has been picked off. But me! Oh no! Picking off Billy Ray, making sure they do not get away. And in doing so, will put us back in a 4 versus 3 in favor of the attack. The Ram will start getting to work. The Yin Candela still in pocket, ready for an execute with that hard breach to hopefully get that hatch open. 2 minutes ticking down on the clock. Pit Ponies looking very strong. All this utility just being picked away. The mirror window's gone. The Goyo canisters, they could get taken down as well. And most importantly, the time is in favor of the Ponies here. Getting that hatch open. Animus Hatch is ready to drop as well. Looking for the gunfight. Will do the damage and will take down Rex. Means that they're going to be taken down as well. And now Shaq and Zorn, the 2 defenders that have to hold this down. The info's going to be turning away from them. The verticality, the time as well. The cameras get stolen as well, which means that those Maestro Evil Eyes are going to be a lot harder to use. And as the scan comes out, time ticks down. The inevitable push starts to take place. The drop comes through, and Buemo in Animus looking for the player in Pillar. It's going to be Fawn who finds a kill. I can't even see who got the other one. That's it. It's all over. And the Pit Ponies will take, well, Season 10 on a 2-0 scoreline.
They turned it up to 10 in that final map, and they will win Season 10 with it. I think that is just an absolute masterclass in how to play Siege from the side of Ponies, and I think it is just a well-deserved championship from them. There's nothing you can really say they did wrong. Yeah, on Chalet, they may have given away some rounds, but they still won the map. Why does it matter? They won the map. They won a Series 2-0. I don't think they dropped a single map this entire, well, so who cares? No matter what happened, you've won well. You've won well Season 10. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah, it does. Congratulations to them, as they are going to be being the victors for this season, looking to defend their title for another one, hopefully. But why not? Pit Ponies, they were getting confident, they were having fun with it, you could tell. But the Dragons actually did start to show signs of life. They started to make it competitive. They started to make the ponies work for it a little bit more, to points where I was thinking, okay, Meep, you had your fun. Maybe we should start paying a, kind of scratching that all off and actually getting a bit more locked in on that. It's good. There's potential there to keep going on. I feel like both teams, there's potential. They're diamonds, but I think the Dragons and the diamonds in the rough. There's still work to be done. There's still refinement to be made. The talent's there. They need to refine it. I feel like that's the big goal for them in between this season and possibly the next one. So that being said, there's a lot to work on, but for Pit Ponies, they're just going to take that victory. They're going to take that pride, and they're going to sit down and say thank you for the warm-up.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can really say. Just congratulations to the ponies, really. I mean, fantastic tournament from yous. Brilliantly played. Very happy to watch. And for the side of the Dragons, it's another second place. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It always sucks getting to the final hurdle and then falling. But you still got to take it in stride. You got to second. You're the second best team in Wales. Something to be proud of, at least. And again, it annoys me. Really, it annoys me because I think we could have seen so much more from this team. I think they had a real shot in Will Chalet. I think they did, and I think we could be sat here on a third map of border right now, but unfortunately, it's just not how it goes sometimes. But again, it was another fantastic season of WoW. I mean, yeah, would have liked to be longer. Obviously, we've had some issues. It just, it happens. But again, I'm very happy with what we've had. The games we've watched, the plays, the shots. I mean, the big iron. The big iron was thirsty. The big iron was coming, and I think it was enjoyable to watch, to say the least. It was a very fun season to cast, especially as my first casting. It was very fun. Happy to do it with you. Brilliant production team behind it. Brilliant plays. Brilliant matches. Just fantastic all around.
Exactly. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us alongside, I believe, Nanos the Liar being our observer and Skipfist being our producer. And a huge shout out to all the admins and all owners and everyone behind the scenes. Like I say, if you reckon you've got a shot at winning, well, season 11, whatever game it may be, take the opportunity, get involved, play it, cast, whatever you want to do. There's something for you here, and we cannot recommend it enough. Like I say, though, that is our 6 done for this season, though. Other games are still available. We know Rocket League, they've had their play day, I think yesterday, or a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
we still have CS, we still have Valorant, so by all means, make sure you don't miss out, because if you enjoyed this season of Rainbow Six, well, you're going to enjoy the other games that we have on offer as well. Thank you for watching, good night.